What is going on, guys? Craig1287 here, bringing you yet another Battlefield 4 discussion video. Got some Battlefield 3 gameplay going on there in the background with some TDM with the M5K. Pretty fun round, but of course run into the typical recon class using the spawn beacon to get on top of rooftops that nobody else can get to type of technique. Pretty annoying. We eventually deal with it and pretty much dominate their team because that's all they did. So let's get to the discussion. DICE on the Battlefield blog released yet another article, this time furthering the Road to Battlefield series, this time talking about the weapon attachments and just general system dealing with accessories and all of that sort. That includes camos and things of that sort. And, they kind of title the article, "Our Deepest and Most Personal Weapon Customization Ever." Well, like in any game, when you have a sequel and they claim it to be bigger, better, more deeper, more customizable, that should be expected. It's a sequel. You're supposed to not just make improvements, but you're supposed to make additions. So, but hey, I'm sure this is just an EA thing, and I mean, well, it's all marketing stuff, so I can't fault them too much for that. It's just one of those things that just slightly gets to me every now and then. So let's get into what the actual article is covering. And sadly, there's not a lot of specific details. We get some good confirmations, a few details here and there, but no hard numbers or anything real solid, or whatever you want to call it. Let's get into it, and you'll see. Now, I do have a link to the article in the description, so if you do have the time and you're not driving in your car or something like that, and you can actually avert your eyes to reading something for a few minutes, then the article is linked in the video description below, as well as two other things that will be linked. We'll get to that here in a second. But let's get to the summarization of what I think are some of the key things that you can take from the article that they released. First off, they do comment that by combining all of the things and all the different ways that you can have, this is on, this is on, this is on, or this is on, this is on, and that, combining everything and mix and matching, you'll end up with 240,000 variations, you can give or take, per weapon. So, it's cool. Again, that's kind of mostly just marketing stuff. Like any shooter, people are going to min-max. They're going to, find the great guns, and they're going to find the best attachments for them. People will have variations. Just look at my videos. I have a pretty good variety and still am able to do quite well. So, people are still going to have variety, but, 240,000, it's yes, it's true, but it's, for the most part, just not really going to be capitalized on. But hey, it's nice that the options are there, especially when things get nerfed during patches. There's plenty of other options for you. Now, they talk about just like the visual aspects of the changes, and they go into how they now have the actual in-game performance changes. So when you have things that are equipped, like you put this grip on versus this grip, you'll have the little bars that reduce and show red and increase and show green as to what stats you are changing. But of course, they don't give the hard numbers, which is what a lot of us, if you're watching YouTube videos and things like that, you're typically more into the game than a guy that's just casually going to play the game every night with some buddies of his and drink some beers or something like that. You might be the one that really wants to know exactly what the numerical value changes are going on. So we'll still have to go into the game's files and use things like SymThick to get readily available access to those real true number changes. But it is nice for just the general people that play the game that they'll be able to see, oh, this increases my accuracy and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people are still going to be confused as to what certain things are, like when they say increases stability. People might, I think they even comment in there that there's some confusion among what the difference was between stability and mobility and accuracy and things like that. So people are still going to be slightly confused as to, oh, this affects your weapon hip fire. Okay, that's different than your recoil. Oh, and this is different than your, movement when ADS. So they don't know those specifics, but still, it's kind of nice that they have added those bars in. But we'll just have to wait until Synthic gets the hard numbers out for us. Moving on, they do start to go into the camos. This section, for me personally, I don't really care about. Camos have never been too big a thing in games. Like in PlanetSide, I only got the camos because I wanted to help support SOE, so I bought Station Cash and didn't really want to buy any guns because I'd already earned them through certification points. Well, what am I going to do? I don't just want to waste it on weapons I'm never going to use. Let's get some camo and show that I've supported. And, you know, maybe snowball effect, people see others supporting the game. Maybe they get, you know, jealous, or they get kind of guilt-tripped and they end up supporting the game. Who knows? That was kind of some of my mindset there. So I'm not the biggest person to camos because I like things that actually affect your gameplay. And in games, camos, yeah, in real life they help, but in a video game, they typically don't. Early on in Battlefield 3, you know, you saw the Spec Ops camo actually did kind of help, but that was slowly changed. Don't really need to go into why. You guys can already know that by Googling it if you don't already know now. So, camos, it's cool that they're adding them in there, and there's specific camos for your guns and not just your soldier as a whole. It is interesting that they've added in these adaptive camos where when you pick it, it will change its colors based on the map that you're on. So you don't have to remember to change your camos from map to map during, you know, transitions of the maps between the same server. It'll just identify, oh, you're on, Siege at Shanghai, it's got a lot of this color, so let's go with this one. And now, now you're on Paracel Storm, it's going to have some cloudy, rainy weather, and, you know, different colors because there's foliage and things like that. So it's interesting that they did add that. That's probably just a direct result of community requests. Then they go into the sniper section, and like I said, I'm telling you what I think is important. So we're just going to skip this section. They're adding in a 40... Alright, well, let's not skip it. They're adding in a 40 times scope, and they're adding the ability to zero your rifle. You guys already know this. You've seen the footage from PAX, and you've seen the footage, especially from Gamescom, of all this. And they do mention the whole scope magnifier, where you can have the scope and then move the little magnifier in front of it, and so you can switch between having a 1 and 2x times scope there on the fly and switch between those. So that's it's nothing much in that section. Then they start to talk about the battle pickups. These are the weapons that you find scattered about on the map. Nothing really all that fancy schmancy here. They mentioned that they hope that it'll help you to, you know, change your play style if you're, you know, you don't pick the recon kit, but then the 50 cal sniper spawns, that you'll pick it up and change your play style and things like that. But you know, I don't think players are going to see it as that necessarily as changing your role, but you know, that is interesting that that's how they approached it, and because that will happen if you're not picking a sniper and then you find the 50 cal sniper, you're now a sniper. So that's interesting. That is definitely pretty interesting, seeing a person with a rocket launcher that now has a sniper rifle. So it is going to change things up a bit. And then they also reconfirm what we've seen in some of the footage. Battle pickups will have limited ammo. You cannot resupply off of the support classes' ammo bags. Then, probably one of my handiest, my favorite aspects of the article is they then have the section about the actual weapon customization, and they confirm that handguns will receive specific customization. Well, we've already seen in some of the footage, where early footage from E3 and such, where you could put the red dot sight on them. But they've also confirmed you can now do the laser sights. You can even put the tri-beam, I think is what it's called. The tri-beam laser sight, and I love the reference that they make, a little reference towards Predator. If you haven't seen that movie, shame on you, and if you have, then you definitely get what they're getting at. And putting suppressors on there and things like that. So really excited about that, because I hate iron sights. I like to see what is below what I'm aiming at and to the left and right of it, and a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, iron sights are just going to block that. So I like having a consistency of what I'm looking down, so I can do that with having the same sight on each gun. And so I'm glad that they're adding that into the pistols. And that's just a really cool thing. And then, of course, there is a poll on there as to what out of what was talked in the article are you most excited about. I believe the one that I voted for was the triple the accessories, because that is nice. And then increased accessory slot is up there as well for me. Sadly, I think at the time that I voted, let's see what it is right now. The 40 times sight, yeah, it says already voted. The 40 times zoom sight for the rifle, the sniper rifles, was like in third place, and that kind of crushed my dreams. I don't want to see that many people in the game running around, well, not running around because they'd be camping, with their 40 times ballistic sniper scope. So hopefully that does get changed. Now in the next video that I do, I will be talking specifically about the shotgun things. I was going to talk about them in this video, but it's already up to the little past 10 minutes, and it's getting a little lengthy. So next video I will talk specifically about the rifle or the barrels attachments for the shotguns. There's a lot more customization with the shotguns in Battlefield 4, and just like in BF3 and any other shooter I play, I'm probably not going to be the biggest fan of shotguns simply because of the consistency, or lack thereof, and limitations on their range. But it is interesting to see some of the things that they have been added in for Battlefield 4, and some of them I think will have very odd results when you mix them. I'll get into that for the next one. So any questions you guys have, any comments you have, anything that you like or dislike that was covered in this article, please comment below. I love responding to your guys' comments, and I love helping clarify things and discuss things, debate things. It's always a ton of fun for me, and hope you guys have enjoyed the gameplay in the background and the discussion. Have a good one. Ta-ta.